Hello, Gen Z, my generation. Guess what? We've been lied to, and it's nothing short of an absolute joke because Gen Zers are literally trapped in debt. I'm talking about student loan bills that just never seem to go away, credit card bills that constantly seem to rise, and house prices and cost of living prices that are literally through the roof. It's bad. It's very bad. And it gets even worse when you look at some of these headlines. Gen Z in crisis. 25% say they cannot afford basic living costs on their current income. Gen Z was sold a lie. We are the recession era precariats. And it's not like we're all trapped in debt because we've all collectively made bad decisions across this generation. We've all, the majority of us certainly, have followed the traditional path that was meant to guarantee or at least offer the opportunity of success. Go to university, work hard, get good grades, get a nice job off the back of the graduation, and save money to get a house, a car, start a family, go on a nice holiday, etc., etc. But for the majority of Gen Z, those days could be long gone. Wages have not been keeping up with inflation, which means we're feeling the pinch more and more every day. Education prices are now absurdly expensive, and we're already seeing people being put off university. But in the grand scheme of things, that might not be a bad thing. That might save them in the long term. And the cost of living has skyrocketed, leaving the rest of us to bite the dust. But the industry's having a great time. You know, the big banks, the lenders of all this debt, I mean, they're collecting up, they're raking it in because people are paying back the original loan with sky-high interest on top of that loan. So they're all happy. It's a great economic scenario for them. But the everyday working man and woman is getting shafted. In this video, we're going to take a look at exactly what's going on, listen to some people's stories, find out why they're in this situation, how much debt they're in, do they have a plan for paying it all off, and how did this whole economic scenario come to be. So we'll take a look at all of this, but before we do, all I ask is one thing. It takes just 2 seconds. If you enjoy this video and you enjoy these kind of updates, please do consider hitting the like and subscribe button down below. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now, sadly, we seem to be in a situation in the world today where people have to rely on debts just to survive day to day. And when you consider that in America, credit card debt hit a record of $1.21 trillion, but an expert is turning around and saying no one should be surprised by that. And the crazy thing is, the expert isn't saying this to be insulting to people who are using their credit cards. He's saying it because people are turning to their credit cards just for their day-to-day living. And have a look at this graph. From 2021 all the way through to where we are now in 2025, the debt levels have only been going one way, and that's straight up. Look, from COVID all the way through to now, debt, slowly but surely, increasing to a record high of $1.21 trillion. And have a read of this down below as well. Quote, "No one should be surprised that credit card debt hit another record high. Stubborn inflation has shrunk a lot of Americans' financial margin for error from slim to about none, forcing people to lean more heavily on credit card debts as opposed to their savings. And because of this economic situation, Gen Z is already racking up a serious amount of debt. Just take a listen to this.
I'm 22 years old and I have $24,577 worth of credit debt. I know that seems like a big number, but once it's broken down into monthly payments, I'm literally only going to be paying about $1,700 a month. I'm not going to file for bankruptcy for only $24,000 worth of credit debt. I do have a job, guys. I work, so I'll be making about like $3,000 to $4,000 a month. I am also still in school, trying to finish my degree, so pray for me. But yeah, I mean, I feel like being in credit debt is pretty normal for most Americans. I don't know, it stresses me out, but like not that much, guys. Honestly, I'm more stressed out about like why the man I'm seeing stopped talking to me. I'm more stressed out about turning in my assignments on time. Like, I don't know. Money comes and goes. It'll come back to me. I'll be okay. Everybody has to relax. I'm about to sell my TV, my couch. That'll be like $3,000 right there, so I'll keep you guys updated.
Blimey. There is a lot wrong with that. Because I won't lie to you, if I was in that financial situation and I was $24,000 in debt, I wouldn't be so nonchalant with my attitude when dealing with that level of debt. But one key thing I want to address from that video was the fact that she openly admitted that she thought it was normal for Americans to be stuck in credit card debts. Now, granted, the facts and the figures do prove that point. We saw before, the level of credit card debt in America has reached $1.21 trillion, a record high. So technically she is correct. But it's the attitude of thinking that it's normal to be stuck in credit card debts that is a big, big problem. Especially looking at how she's going to pay that debt back. You know, when you break up the payments that she'll make over the next few months, you're looking at $1,700 a month. That's a lot of money. That's probably more than some people spend on rent. And on top of that, there is the uncertainty of job security. There's no guarantee that you will still have that job and have that income stream up until the date of your final payments. She said money comes and goes. Yes, that is correct. But what if the money doesn't come back to you? That's the problem. And if anybody who possesses that kind of nonchalant attitude thinks it's easy to just go and find another job if you get laid off from your old one, please think again, because the job application process in and of itself is a nightmare. We're at a point where in the economy today, we have really able graduates, brilliant minds, fantastic degree subjects, young, hungry, ready to go and carve out a career in the world. And they're not even able to find the most basic level jobs, never mind jobs in their specialized fields.
This is the most humbled I've ever felt in my life. I'm literally holding resumes, a stack of them, so that I can go in person to places and say, are you guys hiring? It's honestly a little bit embarrassing because I'm literally applying for like minimum wage jobs, and some of them are being like, we're not hiring, and it's like, what? This is not what I expected. I graduated college with 2 degrees in communications and acting. I speak 3 languages. Oh, this sucks. Like, I just want to be a TikToker if I'm being so for real with you.
Case in point, it's not as simple as simply applying for a job, going for an interview, and getting that job. I wish it were that simple. Because you're not just competing with people from your own university for that particular position, you're competing with people from all over your country for that position, whether you're in the US, the UK, France, Italy, Germany, wherever it may be. So you're not just going to be competing with 10 people, you'll be competing with 200, 300 people, maybe even 500 people, who knows? Because the level of graduates that get rejected could mean that there's more supply than there is demand for those graduates. So not everyone's going to get lucky with landing a job. And many graduates are just going to be left on the sidewalk. And just quickly, because I feel like I have to address this before I move on, to my native Brits, I apologise. I didn't mean to say sidewalk, I meant pavement. But I just want to take a moment to defend Gen Z here, because I feel like certain factions of the media don't exactly understand what we're going through, because they seem to think with such a wide range of information across multiple online sources, whether it's Internet Explorer, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, wherever you get your news from. They seem to think it's a doddle. They seem to think, oh, well, Gen Z have all this information at their fingertips. They should be able to work out how to manage their money, how to be financially literate. It's not as simple as that. Have a read of this from Bloomberg. Gen Z has virtually no excuse for financial illiteracy. Some in the cohort are blaming school for not teaching them proper money management. But that excuse falls flat when most information is so accessible now. So it's basically Bloomberg's way of saying it's your fault, Gen Z, you're responsible for your own demise, you should take responsibility for your own actions. Honestly, it baffles me how they got away with publishing that, because that is just a load of old nonsense. This article puts it into perspective really well. From Yahoo Finance, 5 reasons financial education is failing Gen Z and millennials. Reason 1. Financial education comes too late. Most Americans didn't receive any kind of financial formal education between 18 to 24 years of age. So basically, the only time they had to deal with these problems, these financial problems, was when they actually got involved in the debts in the first place. It was only when they took out a student loan, took out a mortgage, took out credit card debts, that they then had to come up with a strategy to deal with that debt. They weren't prepared for those decisions. Reason 2. Economic pressures outpace the financial knowledge. Rising costs and wages that don't necessarily keep up have created an uphill battle for the younger generations. They're having to deal with so much all at once that the current pressures of the economy are far outpacing, their level and their ability to learn. But perhaps the best reason of the bunch, the self-taught approach falls short. This reason is in direct contrast of what that Bloomberg article was saying. A financial education survey found that 95% of current US high school students who learn about financial topics in school find it helpful, though only 7% of Gen Z and 9% of millennials actually learned financial skills in school. A lot of millennials and Gen Z relied on their parents for financial education, while boomers were more likely to teach themselves. So to put it in the most politest way I know, Bloomberg's article is nothing more than a bunch of irrelevant twaddle. And with that, we're at the end of this video. Gen Z debt is not a problem, it's a crisis at the moment, but they cannot shoulder all of the blame because the economy, the current world events are making such an uncertain environment for Gen Z to thrive in. So a lot needs to be done to help them get into work, to help them manage their money, and to help them get out of debt. But Gen Z, we just need to be a bit careful when it comes to our everyday expenses. We can't be spending money on luxury frivolities if we're struggling to make ends meet in our everyday lives. But please let me know your thoughts down below on if you do have some debt, how you're planning to deal with it. Is it a substantial amount? What kind of debt you have? I'd love to hear from you. You know, all opinions are welcome. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. As mentioned before, please drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. I'll be returning soon in the coming weeks, but until then, see you all later and take care.